Hello, YouTube. Hopefully. We'll see. You guys will have to let me know if video and audio quality are coming through. Okay. Slightly different settings now, so. All right. Now we can get going. Let's see. Oopsie. I gotta get my realized I'm not showing. Get my camera back up. There we go. Okay. We're good. Sorry about that. Let's see. What do we have? What do I have tagged? First up. Oh man. Homeless people in Portland. I'm assuming Portland. Guy's based in Portland, I think.
Burn your fucking house down. Burn it the fuck down. Justice. Burn it the fuck down.
Where do you think they get that?
Behind me is a severely mentally ill man.
Burn it down.
But over the last several
Burn it down, justice. It's justice. Burn it down.
hours has been screaming, burn it down, burn it the F down, or I'm gonna burn it down. The emergency services has been called on him several times. It's been hours, and really nothing has happened. The police stopped by once, but then drove by a few minutes later. Above me is a large, low-income apartment, and a lot of the tenants are getting frustrated and really kind of triggered. So I guess this is a good example of we have more of a mental health crisis than a homeless crisis out here, and not enough is getting done. And let's remember that Oregon is ranked second to last place in mental health services.
After Utah?
But we're ranked, I believe, first in per capita homeless in the
Mormons, I guess.
United States. And that says a lot about the streets of Portland.
They don't like shrinks, do they? Do Mormons like shrinks? They don't like shrinks.
With how chaotic it is, who knows
They don't like the drugs, I know that.
if this guy's actually going to get in his needs met today or any help whatsoever.
Jeez. Cuckoo. That's Portland, though. This is hilarious.
This is how I made hundreds of these Amazon-themed delivery missiles, and to proposing that Amazon adopt a new delivery method. They could do 30-second delivery and deliver our packages via missiles by blowing up our front door and shooting the packages in at 10,000 miles an hour. So step one was to cut a bunch of aluminum tube to length and then bring it over to the
What's up with this shit? I love it.
machine to
I actually love it.
cut windows in it, and the missile body was made of 3 parts, and when those were done, I started cutting out the fins. But pretty quickly, I gummed up the
He actually goes on for like 3 whole minutes, seriously taking you through the process of his
release them
his door destroying Amazon
all
missile.
at once, and then it'll be a
30-second delivery though. It's not bad.
frantic first come first served. As
You gotta work out the kinks before you get to the, across the finish line. They'll figure out the door busting problem. Fantastic little time traveling clip here, so to speak, of Donald Trump back in 1987 speaking on Iran.
Because I'm running for the president.
Oh, and you know what? I need to pop out my DLive chat, please. Because I can't see you people. What do you mean I'm muted? Not sharing. Oh, weird. Yeah, sorry, guys. That's bizarre. Well, good thing I thought to bring up the DLive chat relatively early, right? Yeah, it looks like I tried to share and then it didn't share. It's like stuck on the started screen sharing thing. How goofy. All right, give me a sec. Let's stop. There. Okay. I think it's good. No? Yes, there it is. Okay, you guys should have sound now.
presidency. I'm here because
Finishing popping out chat would be nice.
I'm personally tired of seeing this great country of ours being ripped off.
But as far as Trump is concerned, our allies are only part of the problem. The real culprit is Iran.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean
go
we
in.
take their oil?
You go in and you take their oil.
You go in. You're
How
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations, and I mean grab it and keep it, and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran.
You go in and you grab it. I love that. Hilarious. This was interesting from the other day.
That is why President Trump has drawn a new strategic map from Greenland to the Gulf of America to the Panama Canal and its surrounding countries. At the Department of War, we call this strategic map the Greater North America. Why? Because every sovereign nation and territory north of the equator, from Greenland to Ecuador and from Alaska to Guyana, is not part of the global south. It is our immediate security perimeter in this great neighborhood that we all live in. Each one of these countries border either the North Atlantic or the North Pacific. Each one of these countries sits north of the two basic geographic barriers that exist in this region: the Amazon and the Andes Mountains. This is basic geography that we don't teach
What is this shit?
in schools as much as we should. And it restores our north-south relations, and we must get it right. In the North, the United States must enhance posture and presence in cooperation with you and our sovereign partners to defend our shared immediate security perimeter. In the South, meaning south of the
Now, what's going on with the video?
equator, the other side of this great neighborhood, we will strengthen partnerships through increased burden sharing. This will enable you to take a greater role to defend the South Atlantic and the South Pacific, and to secure critical infrastructure and resources in partnership with us and other Western nations. This is what we did in World War II, just like we sunk ships with torpedoes in World War II. At the Department of War, we called it the quarter sphere defense. And we will do this again. If we're serious about our that is why President
I don't know if that was yesterday or what. Interesting little anecdote about Trump here from RFK Jr.
He has encyclopedic molecular knowledge on this wide range of very, very eclectic interests. Music, Broadway shows, pro wrestling, football, every sport, golf, and business and Wall Street. He knows how everybody made their money and what deals they made. And he tells stories all the time about it. It's just one after the other. And one time during the campaign, I was on the airplane with him, and we were sitting across the table from each other eating McDonald's, drinking Diet Coke. And we started talking about Syria. And he got a placemat, and he turned it on its back, and then he took a Sharpie and he drew a perfect map of the Mideast. And then he put the troop strength of every country on every border on that map. And it just, it challenged a lot of the assumptions that I had been told about him. He has, he has this extraordinary depth of knowledge about what's happening in each one of the agencies. My agency and the others, and and then he has an instinct for making good choices.
Well, I have to say that.
And I would say this. I think my uncle, John Kennedy, understood the uses of power better than any president who has preceded him. I think Donald Trump understands the use of power better than probably any president that we've had, at least since Roosevelt and maybe in American history.
Wow. It is pretty fascinating, though. I mean, I certainly would not be able to draw a perfect map of the Middle East just on demand, along with, marking the troop strengths on every border they're in. Wouldn't I mean, I've always heard that he's a smart guy, but I wouldn't have even expected that out of him. That's, I guess it's a nice talent to have in the position he's in. I'm not even going to play that because fuck that guy. And this is, okay, that's all old business. All right. On to the main pile. Here we go. Here we are. All right. What's Trump's schedule today? What's he up to? What do we got coming down the pipe? Boring day. Well, as far as days go these days. Okay, on to the shutdown.
We're not holding up all of the money for all the Department of Homeland Security. That's just a false statement. We have said repeatedly, repeatedly, we should fund TSA, we should fund FEMA, we should fund the Coast Guard. We are not prepared to give ICE another $10 billion on top of the monies they already have and are using in many of these lawless operations.
Fighting over that additional $10 billion, you are holding up the rest of Department of Homeland Security.
We're not holding it up.
I mean, you're saying...
No, John, we're not holding it up. We have now voted 10 times...
Right, but you're holding up unless it doesn't include money for ICE. That's just a fact.
It's a fact, and it was good to see him follow up like that. Here's the problem. The only thing he did not bring up is what they already got. They're going to have some type of IDs on their uniforms. They're going to have body cameras, no more roving patrols, no more Greg
Really? They got IDs on the uniforms, huh?
Vino, Kristi Noem.
I mean, like full-blown, like identifying information IDs, or what are we talking?
It's now out. Those are 5 things that...
I assume so.
Democrats can honestly say, hey, guys, look what I got. But they want judicial warrants, and they want masks off. Well, when you stop doxing and calling them militia and Gestapo, then they'll stop, their families will stop being in danger, and they'll be treated like every other law enforcement operation. They actually said, Hakeem Jeffries said last week that ICE agents are going to go into airports, brutalizing people and shooting them.
I've been saying the people love them. Yeah. Apparently, they've been doing a great job in the airport.
Yeah. I bet, you know what, I just about guarantee they're doing a better job than TSA ever did. TSA is known far and wide, in government and out, for being an absolute fucking joke. Like, they're like the federal DMV, but worse.
Good morning to you, Robin. More than 60,000 TSA officers have missed 2 full paychecks since this partial shutdown began. Record numbers of officers have called out in recent days as security lines at some of the nation's busiest airports have stretched out to the curb. But today, some expected relief to the system.
This morning, for the first time in a month and a half, TSA officers are expecting paychecks. Overnight President...
Boy, look at that.
Expecting pay...
That would have gotten a job like a decade ago.
Paycheck.
Tatted up. I don't even know what he eats, but probably ain't good for him.
Overnight, President Trump was asked how long TSA officers will be paid for.
We're going to pay them for as long as we have to.
45 days into a partial government shutdown that has left the Department of Homeland Security unfunded, TSA workers have called out in record numbers. Nearly 3,000, over 10% of the agency, calling out Saturday alone. More than 500 officers have quit since the funding crisis began last month. On Friday, the president signed a memo to redirect funds to give TSA officers their back pay, as lawmakers failed to reach a deal to restore funding before leaving for a 2-week congressional break. TSA officers say today's paycheck can't come soon enough.
The mental strain of not going to work or going to work and not getting paid for 3 out of the last 5 months is just unbelievable.
Security lines have
That would suck.
slowed to an hours-long crawl.
I mean, even if you knew it was coming, eventually.
At some of the nation's busiest airports. Both Houston airports, BWI in Baltimore, JFK in New York, and Atlanta Hartsfield all operating with over 30% of TSA officers absent over the weekend. Amid the spring break travel crush, some travelers have hired line sitters to wait it out for them.
So
Whoa.
I waited in line, and then as I was getting close to the front, I would text the client and say, hey, I'm about 30 minutes out, so then they know to head to the airport and meet me.
White House border czar Tom Homan deploying
People paying line sitters? My God.
immigration and customs enforcement agents
Hey, time is money, though. I guess it's absolutely worth it for some people.
to airports. Some agents will remain at airports until TSA officers can resume normal operations. Still, questions remain about how long the funding will last and what happens next.
It's not enough at all. We're only going to be back paid for the paychecks that we've missed. Moving forward, we don't know if we're going to get paid in another 2 weeks.
As those officers get paid, officials are hopeful that travelers will see the benefits of shorter security lines somewhat soon, George.
Yeah, we
Okay, Democrats are preparing emergency litigation against Trump, asking Democrat judges to prevent him from illegally paying TSA agents. Though that'll play well.
What did Democrats get out of this standoff?
Yeah, well, Margaret, the standoff is not done yet, right? The president is illegally paying, apparently, TSA agents. You had the Senate, as you pointed out with Mr. Homan, pass a bipartisan bill unanimously in the United States Senate to say, look, let's fund everybody else and let's deal with this thorny issue about ICE. And then you had the Republican House say, hell no, we're not doing that.
What did Democrats get out of this standoff?
Like, OMG, like, what did they even get? Really, Nora?
Yeah, well, Margaret, the standoff is
Margaret, whatever your fucking name is.
not done yet, right? The president is illegally paying, apparently, TSA agents. You had the Senate, as you pointed out with Mr. Homan, pass a bipartisan bill unanimously in the United States Senate to say, look, let's fund everybody else and let's deal with this thorny issue about ICE. And then you had the Republican House say, hell no, we're not doing that.
What did Democrats...
Boy. Trump last night on the way back into D.C. I missed this.
Sir, could you foresee a deal in Iran this upcoming week?
I do see a deal in Iran, yeah.
Mr. President.
Could be soon.
Sir, could you...
Quick. Okay, next week. Hey, cat. Silly? Okay, more Trump from last night.
Getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. We'll see how it works out, but they're very good. Moving along very nicely. They've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone, we know that. But we destroyed many, many targets today. It was a big day. And we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly. We have emissaries, but we also are dealing directly. And as you know, they've agreed to send 8 boats 2 days ago, and then they added another 2, so it was 10 boats. And now today they gave us as a tribute, I don't know, I can't define it exactly, but they gave us, I think out of a sign of respect, 20 boats of oil, big, big boats of oil, going through the Hormuz Strait. And that's taking place starting tomorrow morning. Over the next couple of days, a lot of boats. And I would only say that we're doing extremely well in that negotiation, but you never know with Iran because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up. whether it's the B-2 bombers or just terminating, as an example, the Iran nuclear deal done by Barack Hussein Obama, probably the worst deal we've ever done as a country, one of the dumbest deals we've ever done. But I terminated it, fortunately, otherwise right now they'd have a nuclear weapon. Then we did the attack with the B-2 bombers, and we stopped them from having nuclear. And now we had to blow them up again. And we will probably, I think we'll make a deal with them, pretty sure. Whether it's possible, we won't. But we've had regime change, if you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. So I would consider that regime change. And frankly, they've been very reasonable. So I think we've had regime change. I mean, you can't do much better than that. The regime that was really bad, really evil was the first one. That was done. The second was appointed, and they're gone. They're all dead, other than one who may have a little life, you know. And then there really are the third group, and the third group of people that seem to be much more reasonable. It truly is regime change. And regime change is an imperative, but I think we have it automatically.
Okay.
Considering still putting boots on the ground, and would you do that
Oh,
without
boots on ground, huh?
I just have lots of alternatives. We have tremendous numbers of ships over there. We don't need them all because of, you know, the power. Look, I would say we're just like we're ahead of schedule on the ballroom. In a much bigger way, we're ahead of schedule with Iran. We're weeks ahead of schedule. If you would have said that in 3 days we were going to knock out 158 ships, their entire Navy, which we did, we knocked out their entire Air Force. We knocked out most of their missiles. That's why you see missile attacks, but they're down to, they're sputtering. And we have a group, it's really a new regime. It's a new group of people that we've never dealt with before, that are acting very reasonable. It is truly regime change.
Are you considering still putting boots on the ground, and would you
Offered a 15-point plan to Iran. Did they ever come back and give a response?
You had offered a 15-point plan to Iran. Did they ever come back?
Yeah, they came back on the 15-point plan. They gave us most of the points. Why wouldn't they?
You make it sound like they made some concessions. Can you identify those?
Well, they're agreeing with us on the plan. I mean, we asked for 15 things, and for the most part, we're going to be asking for a couple of other things. And just to prove that they're serious, they gave us all these votes. When I talked about 4 days ago, a present, I said they gave me a present, but I didn't think I was at liberty to say what it was. What it was 8 plus 2. It's 10 massive boatloads of oil. And today they gave us another present. They gave us 20 boatloads of oil. That starts being shipped tomorrow. We're having very good meetings, both directly and indirectly, and I think we're getting a lot of very important points.
Sir, will you
Okay, interesting. Oh man, big news in the on the White House grounds coming out this weekend. Officially, anyway. I think it was suspected by a lot of people before this, but it's been officially confirmed. I wonder if Steph stuck it in here. I know he talked about it. He got asked about it here. I do not see it, but let me find it. So, the construction going on at the White House for the big, beautiful ballroom ain't just for a big, beautiful ballroom. In fact, that's basically just the cover, which is kind of how it always goes when the White House is getting renovated. It's almost always always concealing something bigger. Been true, I think, probably every time, at least in the last 100 years. Definitely true this time, and then some. So the military is apparently using the construction of the ballroom basically as a big tent to conceal what they're really doing, which is building a massive possibly, I think, even like 9 stories underground mega bunker, complete with its own data center, like full-blown top-tier on-premise AI. Quite a move, and the right move. I think that the White House has probably been due for it for a while, long time. The current facilities are, they've been there for a while, and of course they've been upgraded, you know, with fresh equipment and technology in the time being, but it's just in terms of available space, you know, like you cannot cram a data center down there. I can tell you that. I mean, I'm sure they have basic, like a, you know, small, of course they got like servers and whatnot, but we're not talking, not like a massive AI, like top tier, state of the art AI data center. That's what I understand they're putting in partnership with like Oracle and I think Palantir too. So quite a move. Ballsy. Pretty great. If you ask me, I like it. I think it's cool. We're going into weird times, man. We definitely need the White House to be ready. Okay, where do we leave off here? We just did that one. All right, filibuster.
It's a shame. They should really just go to a filibuster. They should terminate the filibuster, and they should vote. That's what I think. Look, I think the Senate is playing it too soft. The Republicans are wonderful people, but we're dealing with very sick individuals. The Democrats are sick. There's something wrong. They're like terrorists, and we have to protect our country. We have to protect our border. We have to protect our wall. If it was up to them, they'd open up the wall, they'd let millions of people pour into our country again, and we've all been through that. And I don't care if you're liberal or you're conservative. What we have now is we have a beautiful, closed border. We're getting murderers out of our country that Biden let in, the administration, the Democrats. We're getting the drug lords out of our country. We're bringing them back to other countries where they came from all over the world. We have great crime numbers despite the fact that they let in 25 million people. And we're focused on the bad ones. I mean, the ones that came in, we'll work on something, but we have to get the killers out. We have to get the drug dealers out. We have to get the criminally insane. We have people that are criminally insane. They are unbelievably violent people that come out of insane asylums. The Democrats want them protected. I want them out. They have to be out. You can't have a country if they're here.
Yep. That simple. I didn't drop anything. What? Okay. IceGov is vital to the well-being of our country.
Would you sign a DHS deal without ICE funding in it?
No, ICE is vital to the well-being of our country. ICE, first of all, they're great patriots, but they are physically and mentally very strong people. And they are able to
physically and mentally very strong.
Protect us from the animals that have been sent in, allowed to be sent in by the Biden administration, where you have people, jails were prisons from Venezuela, from the Congo, from all over the world, from every continent. They were allowed to come into our country, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. You can't have a soft, weak, sad person deal with these. You need strong people. Now, they love our country. They're very brave. They're very strong, like some of these guys. But you have to have these people removed or you don't have a country. So we had the best crime numbers that we've had, murder numbers, the best in 125 years. Think of it. Since the year 1900, before my father was born by a lot, we have the best crime numbers, and we're going to keep it that way. And that's despite the fact that so many criminals were allowed into our country. So we need ICE, we need Border Patrol. The last thing you people want to see is our country overrun again by criminals, and that's not going to happen. We're not going to let that happen.
Oh man, speaking of criminals, ooh, here's a crazy story from the other day. Look at this shit. 23-year-old U.S. Marine accused of stealing like full-blown weapons of war from Camp Pendleton, including a javelin or 3. I don't know how many. Stole them and sold them in Arizona. Yeah, a fucking javelin. God knows who that got sold to. Cartel. I wonder how much he got for that, by the way. Those things are not cheap. Few $100,000 minimum. Oh yeah, and then he also stole like 2 million rounds of ammo. 5.56 ammo. Sold massive portion of it, which that comes out to like a couple mil. Easy. Crazy. Bizarre. I wonder how long he was doing it for. What else did he get? Got a javelin. Military grade ammo. Give me the full haul. What else did he get? Do we even know? No, they don't say here. But you get the picture. Javelin? Like what? How do you even get that off base? Did you hide it in your pants leg? I don't think it would fit. Nope. Chuck it in the Jeep. All right, what's next? We don't want transgender mutilization of our children. The Democrats are fine with it.
We have 5 points. We don't want men playing in women's sports. The Democrats do. We don't want transgender mutilization of our children. The Democrats are just fine with it. You could do every child in America, they'd be very happy. We don't want the mutilization of our children. It's transgender, and we're not going to have it.
It's transgender, and we're not going to have it.
So we want to go into those things, 5 points. And
so quotable.
With the filibuster termination, you could vote them all in. The Republicans would have the vote. We have 5 points. We don't want.
Okay, what's this? On the filibuster.
Leader Thune told me that they do not have the votes to terminate the filibuster.
I know, but that's part of being a leader. You have to get the votes.
Do you have confidence?
I mean, I like him so much. He's a high quality person. And he told me the same thing. We don't have the votes. Well, he's only a couple of votes short, but that's what being a leader is. You have to get the votes. You have to get the votes. And those people will not be able to withstand the onslaught because Republicans and the country wants it. You know, it's polling at 87% voter ID. Think of it. We're talking about Save America. And it's not Save Act, it's Save America Act because it's saving America. Save Act, nobody knows what it's saving. It's the Save America Act. And you have to have it. You have to have it. The Save America Act, voter ID, all these things, proof of citizenship. It's an 87% issue with all voters, including Democrats. The only ones that don't want it are Schumer and these corrupt Democrat leaders, because it will not give them the ability to cheat in an election. Look, why wouldn't you want voter ID? There's not a reason in the world you wouldn't want it except to cheat. And if they don't cheat, their policy is so bad, they'll never win another.
Trump announces if Iran's new, more reasonable regime does not strike a deal in short order, he will blow up electrical plants, oil wells, and Arg Island. I don't know what that is, but sounds important. Let's find out. Oh, that seems like a rather big island. He's going to blow up the whole thing? The Forbidden Island. Okay. Arg Island provides a seaport for the export of up to 90% of Iran's oil products. Okay. Well, yeah, I bet they want that. Okay, Trump says the Supreme Court must do the right thing and uphold his executive order ending birthright citizenship for migrants. Pardon me. Ugh. Yep. Better get that done. Oh. Okay. Trump posting here, the United States of America is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. Great progress has been made. But if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island. And possibly all desalinization plants. Whoa. Jeez. That's crazy. That would send the entire nation into like absolute turmoil, like that, like no time flat. Freshwater, bye-bye. Which we have purposefully not yet touched. This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others that Iran has butchered and killed over the old regime's 47-year reign of terror. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump says if a deal is not reached with Iran and Hormuz Strait opened, U.S. will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Blackout in Iran affecting the world's ability to understand the extended damage caused by the U.S. and Israeli strikes as Starlink is jammed. Hundreds of people using it are arrested.
So, Trey, the internet's been shut down for months now, and not allowing the Iranians to be able to communicate virtually at all. Any change to that?
No, and Israeli officials are sounding the alarm about the internet blackout across Iran that has now reached more than 700 hours. They say it's affecting the world's ability to understand the extent and impact of U.S. and Israeli strikes, and it's also hurting Iranian civilians and their ability to organize internally. I spoke with a senior Israeli intelligence official today about this issue who said in part, quote, "This is a blackout on truth. The regime is hiding reality from its own people. They don't want the Iranian people to see how badly they're getting hit." The official goes on to say, cutting the internet stops people from communicating, from sharing what's really happening, and from organizing. This is significant because we understand that Starlink is being jammed inside of Iran, and so people who previously were able to work around this internet blackout are not able to do so. The Iranian regime has also arrested hundreds of people who are using Starlink terminals, but the official ended by saying something that I think is very important. They said, when this blackout is lifted, the full extent of the damage to the regime will become clear.
So, Trey.
Over the weekend, millions of protesters in more than 3,000 cities and towns nationwide took part in the No Kings demonstrations. Oh my God.
Yeah, No Kings organizers are calling Saturday the largest single-day nonviolent protest in modern American history.
They're going to show all the wonderful sweeping footage. And,
as millions.
Oh, look at all the nice protesters.
Took to the streets.
None of the graffiti. They're not going to show that.
Coast to coast to protest some of the president's policies.
You know, the graffiti saying, what was it? Kill your local ICE agent.
Policies. Over the weekend, at least 8 million protesters taking to the streets in a historic nationwide demonstration, according to event organizers from big cities. This is what democracy looks like. New York, to Dallas, to Albuquerque, to Los Angeles, to smaller towns.
It's time to speak up. I don't want to be a bystander to this.
3,000 separate events marking No Kings Day, protesting President Trump and his administration over what many say are abuses of power from the war in Iran.
I don't see a strategy behind the war other than the finicky whims of our president.
To the administration's immigration crackdown.
No fear! ICE is not welcome here!
Outrage continues.
Yeah, that'll scare him off.
Over the deaths of American citizens Alex Preddy and Renee Good, both shot and killed by federal officers earlier this year. In Minnesota.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Bruce Springsteen performing for tens of thousands.
That's why there were so many.
On the streets of
Protesters turning out even in some towns where President Trump won in the last election, like Cass County, Iowa. The protests fueling
Sorry, I'm still stuck on Bruce Springsteen sucking so bad.
anticipation for this year's midterm season elections, as Democrats hope to take back Congress.
Now, there were a few incidents we want to mention in Los Angeles as things turned a bit chaotic there.
Oh, they do mention them.
Dozens of people were arrested for failing to disperse, and some were throwing rocks, bottles, even broken concrete blocks at officers. This is according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. 2 officers were hit and had
But you're not going to show none of it? No.
to receive medical attention.
No. That'd be too much. An NGO was registering voters at the No Kings protests. Of course they were.
You can register to vote here?
Oh, it's indivisible. Yeah, of course it is.
I can register as Republican, right?
We do not have that.
Thank you. What's your name? Christian with Crimson. Crimson, nice to meet you. Thank you. We're here at the No Kings protest, and as you can see, there's a lot of people with a lot of pride flags. It's pretty gay here.
My sign says morons are governing America.
I got a question for you. How many genders are there?
How many what?
Genders are there?
There are unlimited numbers of
This many.
depending on
This many.
how you want to define them.
Nice. Did you make that yourself? It's really cool. What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by this?
Yeah. Like, we don't want to kill anyone, right?
No.
No. So, okay. So what's the red for?
Blood. Death. Destruction. Anger. And rage.
Anger, rage. How is that blood?
It was because there was a lot of pain.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to kill anyone.
No, we don't want to kill anyone.
Yeah, except for that one time with Charlie Kirk, right?
Sure. They blame the immigrants, so you won't blame the billionaires.
Hear me out. Can I blame both? Say what you want. He's dressed impeccable. I love how it's all peaceful. Because we've seen stuff go bad in the past, right? I'm happy it's peaceful.
I don't know who that guy was, but bravo. I dig it. Do we not get to know? Oh, Jimmy the comedian. All right. No idea who that is, but I like you, Jimmy. No Kings financials released. Financiers Arabella, Warren Buffett, Ford, Rockefeller, Soros, and the Tides Foundation. Wow. Quite a bit of money, too. Oh, and, you know, plenty of others on top of that. Those are just the big ones. Climate Museum. Hair in Action, Inc. CIA. Huh? Latin American Working Group Education Fund. That sounds sus. Bombs, right? Oh, showing up for Racial Justice, Inc. All right, where are the big ones? League of Conservation Voters pumped in $33 million. Ooh wee. One big fat dump. You'll forgive the imagery. Okay. No Kings, apparently no cleanup either. Oh, nice. They left it how they found it. African nation claims it would welcome extradition of Ilhan Omar after immigration fraud claims. Which nation? The Republic of Somaliland? Not Somalia. Somaliland. Different. Okay, then. Okay, from yesterday. They told you it was Russia. They told you Trump colluded. They were wrong. Schweitzer. Peter Schweitzer. And Devin Nunes.
Welcome
I got some of that. Why not?
back. Former FBI Director James Comey has been subpoenaed by the Justice Department over his alleged role in drafting the 2017 intelligence community assessment that served as a basis for the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. Last year, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard declassified a House Intelligence Committee report prepared in 2020 based on then-Chairman Devin Nunes' investigation and the so-called Nunes Report, which was out in 2018, which Nunes broke and talked about extensively on this program throughout 2017 and through 2020. It revealed the intelligence community had no evidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to help elect President Trump in 2016, and that the Trump-Russia collusion story was made up by Hillary Clinton's team to try and beat Trump in the 2016 election. As simple as that. Despite the assessment, then President Obama ordered a new intelligence report after the 2016 election, right before Trump was to take office in January 2017, that contradicted the original assessment of no collusion between President Trump and Russia. Joining me now with more on whether America will ever see accountability for the hoax that polarized the country is the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, and the president of the Government Accountability Institute, Peter Schweitzer. And Devin is now the chairman of the President's Outside Intelligence Advisory Committee. And Devin, I want to kick things off with you. Give us your sense of where we are today after that subpoena of Jim Comey.
Well, the only thing that I would add to that, Maria, is that this hoax is ongoing. This is a conspiracy that's gone on for a decade. Cool. And remember, you mentioned about Clinton trying to win, but what it really was about was covering up for her missing emails. That's what it originates with. And then it goes into the ICA that you just talked about. It goes into the Mueller witch hunt.
Hey, come back here.
It goes into the Ukraine impeachment hoax. It goes all the way, we can just fast forward, to the raid at Mar-a-Lago. So the victim in this is President Trump, his family, his associates, campaign members. We now know senators, congressmen. I think virtually everyone has been brought into this conspiracy over the last 10 years. So Florida is the right home for this. It's what myself and other scholars have been talking about, that this is the victims were mostly in Florida. This is where it should be centered. So I think in breaking news this week was that the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford actually voted to release transcripts of former CI Director John Brennan. This was at the request of the Department of Justice. Now, I don't know where those documents are going, but my guess is that they're headed down to Florida as part of this larger conspiracy case that, as I said, goes back to 2015-16 timeframe with Hillary Clinton hiding her emails because she probably thought the Russians or someone were going to release them, and then they tried to frame President Trump in his campaign. So this is where this investigation is going. It's been a long time, as you said. We all want accountability, but you have to work at this day by day, step by step, to try to deliver this accountability and hope that the Department of Justice can bring significant charges against the perpetrators.
And who knows what was in those emails, right? The Hillary Clinton emails, and whether they were treasonous. You mentioned John Brennan. I mean, he has a severe animosity for President Trump and, attacked him, even as he was involved in that Russia collusion story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, we also know that in 2016, when he came to brief us, and he briefed us on this supposed Russian thing that was going on, was very vague about it at the time. Well, we now know, we didn't know at the time, but we know today, that he knew this was a hoax. He knew that the Clinton campaign was playing a game and that they were trying to cover up for the emails. That was all declassified at the end of President Trump's last term, but now it's taken this long to try to get accountability and hold these these people accountable who weaponized the justice system. And that is what the president has really asked his intelligence board to do, is to de-weaponize, get all the information out, make it all public, show the sunlight on it, and then hopefully the victims of these crimes, and there's so many of them, there's so many, it's not just President Trump and his family, Maria, it's dozens and dozens of people who lost everything in this conspiracy. But most importantly, it's making America unsafe. The weaponization of intelligence does not help us win battles in Iran, to track down terrorists, to do what we did in Venezuela. We got to get the intelligence agencies back to what their original intent is, and that is to provide actual intelligence, real intelligence, with analytical integrity that guarantees that policymakers can make at least informed decisions as they try to guide the world in a very difficult time we have now.
Well, I'd like to see if we actually get conspiracy charges, and that would be the first step in that road. Peter Schweitzer, your reaction?
Yeah, I think what we clearly have is the intentionality that James Comer intentionally manipulated the intelligence system in an effort to undermine Donald Trump. Let's remember when the FISA court scandal erupted and the IG report came out and said there were 17 inaccuracies or errors. Jim Comey said, oh, it was just sloppiness. Then you go to what Chairman Nunes was talking about, specifically the rewriting of this intelligence assessment in December of 2016, after they had briefed Congress days earlier that Putin had no intentionality of intervening. He had no preferences between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. They rewrote that intelligence assessment, and James Comey was central to it. So you have intentionality, and the question is, what was the goal here? Barack Obama was leaving the White House. Donald Trump was coming in. The intentionality was to disrupt and undermine the normal functioning of the American government.
Yep. AOC might have violated federal election law. How'd you do that, girl? Oh, and House ethics rules. Those two. After spending $19,000 on what, you might ask? Dinner? Travel? Drugs. It's drugs. She's spending on drugs.
Is known for specializing in ketamine therapy. The National Legal and Policy Center filed a joint complaint with the FEC and the Office of Congressional Conduct, demanding that authorities determine whether the money paid to Dr. Brian Boyle was fraudulently documented as leadership training and consulting. Now, Dr. Boyle is a chief psychiatric officer at Stella Mental Health and is known as the leading authority on ketamine. We have reached out to Congresswoman AOC's office, but we
Remember when she like made fun of Elon Musk for being addicted to ketamine? Yeah.
We have not heard back yet. So Kevin, I'm sorry because
like someone had a little problem, a little monkey on their back. I don't know that she's addicted. I'm just joking, but still, that's rather nasty, isn't it? You make fun of Elon Musk, and he didn't he like do a drug test or something that came back clean? Who knows if it was even his, to be honest. But come on, AOC. Spend $20K on freaking ketamine, and you're talking shit like campaign money? Yeah. Rep. Eric Swalwell reportedly furious and panicking that FBI Director Kash Patel is pushing to release the files regarding, his dalliance with the Chinese spy.
Eric Swalwell wants to, and that's how I know we're winning. And if Eric Swalwell wants to come online and talk about what jacket size I wear, I'm happy to send him a women's medium so him and Fang Fang can go out again.
And the Democrat.
And that.
Swalwell sees personal vendetta in FBI probe. I mean, it's not personal. It's just like everyone fucking hates you. You're just everyone. Sounds like a you problem, Eric. No Kings protests exposed as $3 billion AstroTurf operation. Yeah, $3 billion. among roughly 500 groups. Soros, Ford, all those other companies. Staged production confirmed, yeah. Duh. They activated all their unions, all their little slaves.
From these 500 groups with, get this, a $3 billion budget.
Is no money. She does good work.
Collectively.
She's local here. She's like a local Northern Virginia area, DC area journalist. She's a talented girl, though.
And where does their, political influence, their political contributions, and their, individual employee donations go, but mostly to the Democratic Party? And that's why we see this silence. And unfortunately, they pull their punches on the issues that matter to you, for example, that you just cited, because that would mean turning against the Democratic politicians that they're trying to keep in power.
Uh-huh. Macro Rubio on Iran.
Well, first of all, it's important to remember the objectives of this operation from the very beginning. We are destroying Iran's navy. We are destroying their ability to their missile launchers by a significant percentage. We're going to wipe out their defense industrial base, meaning their ability to make new missiles and new drones in the future, because it poses a great threat to the region. This Iran that you're seeing now, this is Iran at its weakest point. Imagine them 2 years from now if they had thousands of more missiles, thousands of more missile launchers and factories to make even more. That was an unacceptable risk. It needed to be addressed, and President Trump is addressing it. Well,
Iran making threats about controlling the Strait of Hormuz and creating a tolling system.
Now,
yeah, I don't think that's gonna fly, guys.
They are making threats about controlling the Hormuz Straits in perpetuity, creating a tolling system and the like. That's not going to be allowed to happen. And the president has a number of options available to him if he so chooses to prevent that from happening. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss what those options are, and we're not going to discuss military tactics. The Department of War would be in charge of those things. I'd refer you to them, but obviously they're not going to discuss it with you either. But there is a way forward here to achieve our objectives. We are going to achieve our objectives in a matter of weeks, not months. Now, they are making threats about that they're going to the Iranians are threatening that they're going to set up some permanent system in the Straits of Hormuz where they get to decide who goes through international waterways. That will never be allowed to happen. But
I guarantee you it would have if they got nukes. I'm not saying they were close, because I don't fucking know. I don't have any damn idea. I know that's what we're being told. But I can tell you, if that was accurate and they did get nukes, that shit would be a closed door.
by the way,
and that would not be pretty.
The rest of the world should take note of that. They have more at stake there than we do. We get very little of our energy in this country coming through the Straits of Hormuz. The rest of the world gets a lot more.
Yep. There's a reason why we're going after Iran and not North Korea, because North Korea already has the nukes. Thankfully, North Korea is not in control of the most important strait in the world. So we don't have to really worry about that part. But, geez. A nightmare. Oh, this is crazy. Yeah, this thing. Freaky. Not viable for, like, everyday flying transportation, obviously. Bizarre, like, flopping fish landing. Like, look at this. For the takeoff.
Most mornings, the hardest part of the commute
but it's
is
still
just
really cool.
getting up and going. But Michelle Villanueva has a different approach. She goes up, and away.
It does feel a little bit like
super weird.
The Jetsons.
Michelle is one of a handful of pioneers flying what's been dubbed the car of the future, a one-seat electric aircraft.
Car of the future? I mean, I don't think it's going to get mass-produced. Not with a design like that. Can't exactly wheel that out of the carport and take off. I mean, maybe if you're like a turbo millionaire and you have a nice big property with lots of grass and open space and a truck and a trailer to haul the thing around when you want to play with it, and sure, but
no way.
No, I think everyday flying cars are still a little while away.
It does feel a little bit like the
Pretty cool.
Jetsons.
The Helix, part of a new generation of what are known as eVTOLs, electric aircraft that can take off and land vertically.
If it were any simpler.
Dude, look at that. Look how weird that is. Like, you start out like laying back. It's weird. And then when you take off, it like tilts. And then when you move forward, it tilts even more. So you're like kind of, after you actually get moving, you're actually kind of like in an upright position. It seems so awkward. Like, you see, look, she's just like looking straight up here when she's taking off. See that?
100 feet, the battery
That'd be so weird.
lasts about 15 to 20 minutes, so for now it's mostly recreational.
That it?
But multi-passenger eVTOLs
15 minutes.
are already getting ready for rush hour. Silicon Valley startup Archer Aviation has
That's
landed
cool.
a deal with the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles to shuttle athletes between venues.
Interesting. They got the vertical, like the two differently oriented sets of propellers. That's cool.
Michael McCormick, an associate professor at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, says the technology looks promising, but it's not without challenges.
Whenever you interject something new in an established system, such as in the United States National Airspace System, it's going to disrupt things.
For Michelle, the future isn't somewhere down the road.
It's amazing up here.
It's hovering right above it.
15 minutes though, like, and that's probably not even including like a little bit of margin for error. So what, like 10 minutes maybe, realistically? You don't want to risk dying. Not there yet, I guess, but maybe another 20 years we'll have flying cars. Senator Booker says he's definitely not ruling out a possible presidential run. Go, be my guest, buddy. Oh, in just 3 days, Artemis 2 launches. Finally. Oh yeah, April 1st of all days. Sending astronauts around the moon for the first time in over 50 years. Not landing this time, but doing the loop. I am pretty excited about that. Wish I could go watch the launch. Okay, Rubio again.
The president has several options at his disposal, and the Department of War is preparing optionality for the president for this and various other contingencies that might arise. That's what always needs to happen in situations like this. But what I want the American people and the people watching this broadcast to know is that fundamentally what this is about is the destruction of their Air Force, which has been largely achieved, the destruction of their Navy, which has been largely achieved, the destruction of their factories that they make all these weapons with, which is we're well on our way to achieving, and a substantial reduction in the number of missile launches that they have so that they cannot continue to threaten their neighbors in the future. All of those objectives are being met on or ahead of schedule and should be able to achieve in a matter of weeks. The president has several options at his disposal.
Okay. Now we get to the military complex under the ballroom. Here we go.
Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom.
Really kind of makes you wonder about all those people screeching about the ballroom being built, doesn't it? Or at least the people paying them.
And that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. That's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from
It's a gigantic bomb shelter.
any other thing. the glass on the windows, you see the big windows, the glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass, so all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote, gee, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. They talked about a stairway in the south. We don't have a stairway in the south. That was replaced a long time ago. But this is a view of it from the north, and that's, if you see it, it fits in with the White House. It's almost a twin to the White House. It's something we just wanted to pay tribute to the White House.
I found out an interesting fact the other day, last night. I don't even remember how I stumbled onto it or what made me look it up. But did you guys know that the cornerstones of both the U.S. Capitol building and the White House, both of which I think were laid by George Washington personally, are lost? And we don't know where they are. Pretty weird. I mean, I guess they're buried under a building technically, but you'd think we'd know. Yeah, they've been searched for 100+ years. Here's the famous paintings of Washington at the ceremony. We don't know where that fucker is. We have no clue. Been searched for. Like, they've excavated the whole nine. Same deal with the White House, not just the Capitol. Both of them. Truman searched for it. I think actually for both of them. Didn't find him. Pretty weird. Yeah, odds are it's probably in one of the four corners. But they've looked. They didn't find it. Pretty weird. Next up, Shirley in California. Oh yeah, these people. They're gone now.
We know that hospice is a very lucrative business, so I joined a business partner right here. His name's Darren, and we're here outside the Hospice Consultants, and we would like to start our own hospice today. We're just two young men who want to become millionaires here inside the United States, and it seems like the only way to do it nowadays is by committing fraud, so we're going to go in and see if we can start our own hospice. Are you guys the Hospice Consultants?
God, can you imagine being these ladies and seeing that face showing up at your door? You know they know who he is.
Yes.
By now.
Oh, can we talk to you guys? About? I want to open my hospice.
That's like the ultimate oh fuck moment. Oh shit.
Want to open a hospice?
Yeah.
Baffo.
Okay, what was your name?
My name's Nick, but I want to open up a hospice.
I understand, but we don't take care of that.
Can I get some information?
Do you want a number?
Yeah, or give me a flyer or something.
Start scrambling.
And this is the Hospice Consultant.
Yes. Not only hospice.
All right, so they say they're open right now. They won't let us into the lobby. This is no way to conduct business. We are two entrepreneurs trying to open up our own hospice.
Soaked to the bone right now.
We were denied service by the potential fraudsters, and as we were leaving, one of the fraudsters started to leave from the back in a $200,000 Maybach.
And we have a Mercedes-Benz.
Not bad.
Driving up. Where can we open a hospice at? We'd like to open up a hospice. Get a Maybach just like you. So is this how I can get a Maybach by opening up my own hospice? We know that hospice is very...
Uh-huh. You figured out the secret. You got it, buddy. Scott Bessent, about to launch a new anti-fraud program, giving whistleblowers up to 30% of fines levied against criminals stealing taxpayer dollars.
I don't...
Fraud bounties. I like that.
No joke, but it's very exciting. I think it's going to be a great way to ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse, starting in Minneapolis, which has been ground zero. So we are encouraging whistleblowers who know about fraud, people who are stealing from the American taxpayer, to...
How long do you think it'll take, by the way, before they start turning on each other?
come forward.
How long do you think?
At Treasury, we're setting up a website.
How long do you think before one of them takes the money and turns in their brother for that sweet, sweet reward cash?
And we will be giving rewards up to 10 to 30% of the fines that we levy. I don't know, Joe, but it's very exciting.
I like it. I think it's great. Good idea. Make them turn on each other. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman on the scheduled launch of Artemis 2 to the moon.
This Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. Jared, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Yep. Thanks for having me on. Good morning, Maria.
And I want to talk about your role, and I recognize that you are running peaceful exploration of space, and it is the Department of War's domain to talk specifically about the operation. But I want to get your take on the satellites that we rely on so much in space to track what Iran is doing and the status of this war.
I can't get his ears.
Today.
It's the most unique ears.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, my job at NASA is certainly about the peaceful exploration of science and discovery in space. That said, certainly not lost on anyone that space is the ultimate high ground. This is why President Trump created the Space Force during his first term. So you have...
Yeah, he uses those to monitor signals from space.
Observation
satellites
that are up there that can see, weapons that are being launched to provide early warning and then targeting of those weapons. You have communication satellites for command and control, as you described. So space is an incredibly important domain. That's why we are so grateful for the Space Force and their guardians that are looking out for us as we at NASA go out and explore the last great frontier.
Well, I mean, the president had great vision to create that Space Force in his first term. Jared, how should we expect the Space Force and those satellites to expand in space to further prioritize space for this operation?
No.
This isn't a big April Fool's joke, right? Like you're going to launch or...
Question. I mean, right now we are looking at the most competitive, the healthiest launch market, so the rockets that put satellites in space than we've ever seen since the beginning of the American space program. So instead of having to put up one really expensive multi-billion-dollar satellite for observation or communication, you now can put up constellations of satellites like what you see SpaceX do with Starlink. Blue Origin has their LEO satellites. So the idea is we can distribute our communication and observation capabilities across dozens, hundreds, maybe someday even thousands of satellites. That's a unique edge for the United States. It creates all sorts of problems for our adversaries.
And one of those adversaries, an important adversary, is China. And I know that you're about to do Artemis 2 on Wednesday. I'm going to get to that in a moment. But do you have any evidence that China has tried to mess with our satellites, move them in any way in space, to be aggressive on our satellites in space?
Well, certainly that is a conversation for the Department of War and the Space Force. But let's just say, I mean, space is obviously a war-fighting domain. That's why President Trump created the Space Force. That's why there's guardians that are looking out for us in that ultimate high ground of space. And I would say we have competitors in that region.
Oh, you bet.
At NASA, we have competitors that are trying to beat us back to the moon. And certainly in the Department of War national security domain, we have competitors that are trying to threaten our capabilities in space.
And let's talk about that, because this is a priority of yours to get our astronauts back on the moon. You are launching Artemis 2 this Wednesday, April 1st, where you've got 3 U.S. astronauts and 1 Canadian astronaut traveling to the moon. What can we...
Why do we have to bring the Canadian? Where...
expect?
Yeah, so it's a fantastic question, and how exciting is it that we finally arrived at this point where American...
What the hell did they do to deserve that shit?
...astronauts and a Canadian astronaut...
We built that.
...are getting ready...
You get to get a joyride on our rocket. Build your own.
...to embark on this journey to return astronauts to the surface of the moon. President Trump created the Artemis program during his first term. It was the first meaningful step since the Kennedy era of getting back to the moon. He then created a massive plus-up investment in NASA in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And now Artemis 2 is on the launch pad. This mission, these astronauts, about 8.8
Which one's the Canadian? Can you tell? Odd man out. He's black. I'm going with him.
8 million pounds of thrust are going to launch on a trajectory around the moon. They're going to go potentially farther into space than anyone's ever gone before.
It's this guy. I see a leaf. It's this dude. We found him.
250,000 miles away from Earth. They're going to test out their spacecraft. 10 days later, they come back to Earth. In 2027, we're going to launch another moon rocket. This time, we're going to test out the spacecraft plus the lunar landers and make sure that works really well. And then in 2028, under President Trump's term, we're going to land those landers on the moon. American astronauts, NASA astronauts.
Wait, when? Say again? When?
Under President Trump's term, we're going to land those and make sure that works really well.
This term?
And then in 2028, under President Trump's term, we're going to land those landers on the moon.
Last year.
American astronauts, NASA astronauts are going to return to the lunar surface.
Well, that's incredible.
Well, if they could pull that off, that'd be quite a triumph.
Incredible that in 2028 we'll have our astronauts walking on the moon again. And I know that we are gaining the energy
that is assuming there are no more delays.
We need from the sun, and so it's all that much more important in terms of our energy needs. Elon Musk has talked about the nuclear needs as well. He's working on his own plans there. Jared, thank you very much for being here. Very exciting. We'll be watching on Wednesday, April 1st. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman.
Thank you.
We'll see. The AI doc. New documentary on powerful tech. Oh, is this the one that interviews like all of them? Altman and Dario. Yeah, it is. That's the one. I definitely want to watch this. I don't know if it's out yet, but I definitely want to see it.
Indonesia now the latest country to implement a social media restriction on children under 16, with a nationwide ban on websites that it could expose them to adult content, cyberbullying, and addiction. This coming after Meta was ordered to pay $375 million for failure to protect kids online following a New Mexico trial, and a judge ruling both against Meta and Google negligent. They said they were negligent in a landmark social media addiction trial in California. We've been covering it here. Tristan Harris is the co-founder of the Center for Humane Technology, and also one of the great voices in your social media show that talked about a few years ago the dangers of
get to the other thing. Yeah, Doc.
Who don't expect their children to
look at a piece of the trailer. Watch.
I know people who work on AI risk who don't expect their children to make it to high school.
What, like, because they're dead or because they don't go to school anymore?
How does
either way,
AI understand pretty much everything?
It's surprisingly straightforward.
Intelligence is about recognizing patterns.
Patterns. If this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
By using AI, we're about to move off of the Earth into the cosmos.
If we can be the most mature version of ourselves, there might be a way through this.
This is the last mistake we'll ever get to make.
The most mature.
How I became an apocalyptimist. Yeah. Yeah, it fits. Yeah. Okay. Well, definitely want to see it. Trump DOJ has now referred tens of thousands of potential non-citizens on state voter rolls for investigation. Oh, snap. Good.
Illegals voting in America. But Democrats like Booker told us for years that there were no illegals voting in America. But if you're shrinking the rolls by 5 to 10%, A, seems like there are some illegals on those rolls. And B, are very accomplished women like you so clueless that you can't figure out how to get a photo ID? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is not really a problem for any American. Every American can go and get an ID. It's really not difficult. And in fact, over the years, states that have required ID to vote have also made it free for people to be able to get IDs at the state level. So this is a red herring. It's just
vote here, aquí.
Kind of fake scaremongering. And
Sí, senor.
You're correct about the second point regarding
free tacos.
Illegal aliens on the voter rolls. We've only been able to cleanse, with the help of cooperative states, between 55 and 60 million voter records so far, but we've referred...
God, I want a taco. Knew I should have gone to that taco spot last night at 1 a.m. Oh well. And I'd have leftovers and I'd be good. Serves me right. Should have done it. Yeah, we got a banging taco spot that's open till like 4 a.m. So nice. So nice. It's the best one in the area too. Go figure. The best one open till like crack of dawn. Been missing that, gotta say. Like we lost high quality 24-hour food restaurants back in COVID era. Just never returned. Still hasn't. That's as close as it's gotten. Used to have like good half dozen literal like 24-hour, 7-day a week Korean barbecue spots you could go to it anywhere between 2 and 5 in the morning, drunk, fresh out the bar or later. Just get a delicious freaking Korean barbecue meal. Can't do that anymore. Sucks. Eat it. I used to love that. I used to love going out to late night restaurants with friends or just Radix. Getting a nice meal. The world is just silent, quiet. I went on the roads. Oh, I love it. So good. Best time. Yeah, can't do that anymore. But thankfully at the taco place I can. Finally. At least until 4 a.m. on weekends. All right, what do we got here? Story time with the second lady. What? Oh, Usha.
Right now, she's
coming in hot. Drink that down.
launching a new podcast for kids and families, Story Time with the Second Lady.
Because when we read, we grow. We will have someone come in, a special reader, we're calling them, read a fun book, have a very short little conversation, and then invite children to pick up books on their own. It's sort of just an advertisement for reading.
Why is this an issue that you care so deeply about?
Kind of hard to hate on that.
Well, I have a longstanding
Somehow, I'm sure these people will find a way, but
interest in education. It seemed like a really natural fit because we have young children right now. But as I was teaching them to read, I was starting to see some of the statistics out there about the decline in literacy rates, about the fact that this is really a long-term trend, and it's worrisome.
Right now, she's launching a new
sweet. It's a nice idea. USS Nimitz and USS Gridley arrived in Panama for the first U.S. aircraft carrier visit in over 50 years, part of Southern Seas 2026. U.S. Ambassador Kevin Cabrera said the operation targeted drug trafficking and regional security. It's a pretty boat.
This is part of Southern Seas, an operation we are conducting with our friends and partners in the region. It involves the USS Nimitz, the aircraft carrier, as well as vessels like the Gridley, which are part of its escort. This operation is aimed at fighting drug trafficking and upholding law and order, something that unites all of Panama as a friend and partner, particularly
a warship
in terms of cooperation and security.
I need to just like, how do I make a multi-billion-dollar
security?
I need a few billion so I can just buy a warship, just to ride on, just to cruise. I would be right up there, right there. That's where I'd be.
Which are part of its.
While NASA is preparing for Wednesday's launch, weather could have other plans. Oh, here we go again.
I'm so excited for Wednesday, but no.
Absolutely nobody could have predicted it.
You're right. Complications from weather, we've seen it happen. Let me talk about Florida, Brevard County. That's where the Kennedy Space Center is located. And let's talk about a couple of things we have to check off as we launch Artemis 2 Wednesday evening. Strict weather limits, no lightning, not a lot of wind, and good temperatures. We should be in range for that. We also have to look for a perfectly timed launch, that it goes with the motion of the Earth. That helps to boost the speed. And, of course, a built-in return path. Make sure everything is clear for a safe landing in the Pacific. And as of right now, and I know we have a couple days away, we are looking at temperatures that will be in the 70s, maybe not perfect sky, but mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies for the launch on Wednesday. Let's talk about the West, because we are still dealing with fire.
Okay, so maybe not.
A built-in return path. Make sure everything is clear for a safe landing in the Pacific.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know, man. Police used AI facial recognition to arrest a Tennessee woman for crimes committed in a state she says she's never visited. What? Tennessee grandmother spends 5 months in jail after facial recognition links her to crimes in North Dakota, a state she says she never visited. Arrested at gunpoint by U.S. Marshals at her home in Elizabethton while babysitting 4 kids. Held in jail 108 days without bail. What? Flown to North Dakota on felony fraud charges. Case stemmed from a Fargo Wells Fargo? Fargo? Investigation into someone using a fake U.S. Army ID to withdraw money. Her attorneys provided records showing that she was in Tennessee at the time of the alleged crimes. Lips said it took 5 minutes of questioning for the case to fall apart. That's scary.
Investigating a bank fraud.
But as best I can tell, her face was selected by an AI program, and an officer...
They didn't think to, I don't know, double check with their eyeballs?
Reviewed her social media and deemed her a sufficient fit, and that caused an arrest warrant to be issued for her.
That's crazy.
According to court documents, Fargo police were investigating a bank fraud case where someone had used a fake U.S. military ID to take out thousands of dollars between April and May of 2025. Lips' attorney says it appears AI software that examined surveillance video flagged Lips as a possible suspect.
It appeared that officers had information that Ms. Lips was from out of state and had no connection to the area. I haven't seen any information suggesting to officers that she was ever in the area or took part in the...
So hold on, she's from Tennessee. Okay. Tennessee. And they expect people to believe that her ass, oh gosh darn it, come on, went all the way from Tennessee halfway across the country to North Dakota just to withdraw like $1,000 here and there. That's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's fucking scary, man. They start cutting corners like that on criminal justice, thanks to AI. Ugh.
His activities.
Arrest reports show Lips was taken into custody in North Dakota at the end of October, then finally released at the end of December.
She had exculpatory evidence readily available and easily accessible. She was able to provide that to her attorney. I don't know the details as to why it took multiple months for that to reach the state, but it does appear that once the state received that information, they pretty quickly dismissed the charges and released her from custody.
Well, lucky for her, I bet she's got quite a lawsuit on her hands. So probably worth the suffering for a couple months.
Now, Lips' attorney, Eric Rice of
In fact, the more the better, the higher the payout.
Minnesota says they're considering a civil rights lawsuit.
I just want to highlight that this is a, potentially very troubling circumstance. What we have here is a person who had no connection to North Dakota, did not engage in any conduct that made her a criminal suspect, and merely because a computer, selected her photo among others, she was dragged halfway across the country and criminally charged.
Crazy.
But as best
they didn't do anything to try to corroborate the AI's claim, nothing. They just ran with it. Crazy, man. Not a good sign. Family identifies woman found living in South LA storm drain. A 43-year-old mother of 3. She's battled addiction and mental health issues for years. Are now pleading for stronger intervention to help to get her the help that she needs after she walked away from outreach teams. Not mentally able to think for herself. Oh, gee.
Susan, this really is heartbreaking. They're sharing pictures and videos from better times, revealing the person behind the headlines they're trying to get back.
If I could take back the past.
A voice once full of life. Now,
aww,
hard to understand. How did she get in the situation that she's in?
Drugs.
Loved ones say this woman is 43-year-old Jamila Robinson, a mother of 3.
She's a wonderful person, a loving person.
We first found her last week in South LA, living in a storm drain.
When I viewed it, it just so happened to be my sister, and that's how I found out about her living situation.
Her sister Camila hadn't seen her in years.
Is that a doghouse? That's a fucking doghouse.
Her sister Camila hadn't seen her in years. Were you surprised when you saw what she was living in?
No.
Well, their mother, Linda, says she speaks with Jamila almost every day.
It's the second time she's been in the sewer. The one up on Winters, it was like 20 of them over there.
20 in one sewer?
In one sewer. They had to cover it up.
Last week, Fox 11 first exposed the underground encampment where Jamila climbed in and out, not willing to say much on camera. Below ground, human waste, trash, and an overpowering stench. I gotta get back. As a mom,
I'm dying. I'm dead. I've tried, Matthew. I've done everything I was told. As long as she could tell me no, or tell the courts no, that she didn't want the help, they couldn't help her.
Within 24 hours of our exclusive report, the city moved in. Hazmat crews.
That's what it took. It took a freaking news report and public attention.
Declaring it a hot zone. The next day, sealing the drain shut with asphalt.
Wow.
Wednesday, the last time we saw Jamila, outreach teams offering help as she walks away.
I'm saddened to see that she just walks away like that. Would love to.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. They're sharing.
Just gone. Yeah, we saw it one the other day. Fostering a future. What is this?
Of the planet. 45 of you have traveled from every corner of the planet to represent your nation as a part of this new coalition.
It's a great pleasure to be in Washington and to be part of such an historic event.
To give us this opportunity, a platform to discuss children in the digital era.
To promote the use of AI and advanced technologies that empower children to become innovators, creators, and leaders in the world of the future.
If we can come together collectively in a coalition like this, I believe the world will listen.
Technology must empower people. It must reduce, not increase inequality.
This is courageous of her. You know, we're experiencing something at a global level, and so we should really be moving forward together.
We can build the bridges necessary to ensure children in Malawi and elsewhere have access to tools they need to thrive.
Under the leadership of First Lady Melania Trump, technology is being shaped not as a force of risk or division, but as one of opportunity, protection, and hope.
The nations represented in this room reflect great human potential. Let's foster the future together.
Nice thought. Okay, I just cleared TSA and it'll Stanton King. Just cleared TSA at Atlanta in 1 minute.
Apparently, Trump sending ICE to the airport was a great thing, because guess what? I just walked straight through. And if you look over there in the corner,
all those lines gone, man.
News reporters with nothing to report because they're
TSA wait times at major airports. How we looking? It's not bad. Other than Texas. Texas kind of sucks as far as this goes, I guess. But DC's down to like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's nothing. Oh, God. Canadian regulators require sign language interpreters to help deaf people enjoy performances by doing whatever this guy's doing. I'm just disturbed looking at that. What is he stroking? What is wrong with you, Canada? I can play air guitar myself, thanks. Nine U.S. citizens and illegal aliens, including 2 John Does, charged in a federal crackdown on benefit fraud schemes in Massachusetts. 1.1 million?
Trade fraud. We are working hand in hand with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts and our other partners to identify, investigate, and to bring to justice those who perpetrate fraud against our taxpayer-funded benefit programs. We will continue every day in this fight until we bring those responsible to justice.
Bravo, sir. Do it again. The next one. Rare sheep telling other sheep that they are sheep.
4 hours. Who the fuck said TSA was 4 hours? 7 to 8 hours, you fucking liars.
We're here at George Washington International Airport in Houston, Texas, and y'all are sheep. Because that line, 30 minutes.
No different than any other day. No different than any other day at the fucking airport at
You
this
don't
point.
even need clear. You don't even need clear.
Don't get us wrong.
Oh, TSA clear, yeah.
Fuck Trump, and we saw that there's been issues this past week, but today, Saturday, March, whatever.
Need clear.
Don't get us wrong. Fuck Trump, and we saw that.
They had to say the line.
There's been issues this past week, but today, Saturday, March, whatever the fuck. Hi.
Yeah.
It was fine.
We are not Trump supporters, but the woke media is lying to us.
Yep. Someone's lying. Someone's fucking lying. Got here fucking 4 hours early. Now what?
Right. Now I'm gonna go get a venti vanilla bean frappuccino.
2 pumps of raspberry.
2 pumps of raspberry, cotton candy, secret menu item.
There you go, kids.
Because I have 3 hours to kill.
Fuck
because
you guys.
the sheep,
Yep.
Rachel Maddow, is lying to us.
Fuck you, Rachel.
I know what you
Yeah, now you're getting it.
You did.
Is she a lesbian?
Yes. Duh.
Really, you had to go there. At George Washington International Airport in Houston, Texas, really?
Fuck you.
Oh, I thought he was gay. Well, whatever. More power to you, I guess. Yeesh. That's a good sign, though. Like, might snap him out of it a little bit. I don't think they'll ever be anything more than, you know, marginally retarded, but progress. Senate is about to gavel into a pro forma session while senators are on paid vacation.
CBP Within the next hour or so, what's known as a pro forma session, basically a brief session with a skeleton crew of lawmakers. And during that session, they might decide to take up that DHS funding bill that was passed by the House last Friday. That would fund all of DHS, including ICE and CBP, for another 60 days. Now, if they take it up, they might try to pass it via unanimous consent. Basically, what that means is if one single senator opposes it, it fails, it gets derailed, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has already said Democrats plan to oppose it.
Okay. TSA agents now getting paid. Oh, U.S. Army parachute team. Oh, whoa, that's crazy. Neato. That's pretty wild. Looks pretty fun. Okay, privileged to be with our U.S. Navy warfighters. Secretary Phelan.
Sustains combat. Every drill, every evolution, every long day on the deck plates contributes to strengthening the readiness that sustains combat operations at sea. I know the operational tempo is high across the fleet and the demands are real. The basic phase is where teams are forged, you and your teammates are strengthened, and where sustained combat readiness is built. Your professionalism, your discipline, and your commitment to one another reflect the very best of who we are as a naval force. Things are getting pretty spicy downrange, and all the more reason we need warriors like you at the ready. Par excellence. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America and the Navy and Marine Corps team that defend her. Godspeed to all of you. Please keep up the great job. Thank you.
Clip I just stumbled on here. Let's check this out.
I think
freaking Almaday, Anthropic CEO.
Maybe I think I felt maybe, have been a bit disappointed or felt a bit more negative about some of the things that are more like in the kind of public awareness and the actions of wider society. It is surprising to me that we are, in my view, so close to these models reaching the level of human intelligence, and yet there doesn't seem to be a wider recognition in society of what's about to happen. It's as if this tsunami is coming at us, and it's so close, we can see it on the horizon, and yet people are coming up with these explanations for, it's not actually a tsunami, it's that's just a trick of the light, like it's some, and I think along with that there hasn't been a public awareness of the risks, and therefore governments haven't acted to address the risk. There's even an ideology that we should just try to accelerate as fast as possible, which
interesting he's mentioning that.
I understand the benefits of the technology. I wrote Machines of Loving Grace, but I think there hasn't been an appropriate realization. I understand the benefits of the technology. I wrote Machines of Loving Grace, but
interesting.
I think there hasn't been an appropriate realization of the risks.
Look that up. That's also the title, at least in part, of an excellent documentary that I highly, 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 highly recommend every single one of you go watch. The best of all time. Great filmmaker. Full title is All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace. By Adam Curtis. Highly recommend watching. Runs through the history of how we got to the point we're at right now, where we're about to be, where machines run, well, everything, basically everything. Fascinating film. Worth every last second. Drop the link out there. If you can even get it on YouTube. I don't know that you can. But you can get hypernormalization. It's a good one. No, I'll watch Driven by Machines 11 Grace. Not here. Like a crappy version in playlist form.
I'd like to know just a little bit. Achievement of his own happiness.
Yeah, if you can find it, go watch it. It is worth suffering through a 3-hour watch. I promise you. Dad, I gotta read that. Oh no, where our window went? All right, let's see the last minute stuff here. Communists marching openly at the No Kings protest.
Working class revolution! Working class revolution!
Solution! There is only one solution! Communist revolution! Communist revolution!
God, they're all like crusty, low T.
Only one solution!
There is only one solution!
Dirt people.
Communist revolution!
Gross. Unhealthy looking skin. Like, look at this.
Communism is gone!
Ugh. Okay. Wow. Since criteria for citizenship expanded with passage of Bill C-3 in Canada, Canada's Citizenship Act, millions of Americans have become eligible to claim Canadian citizenship. Well, I would encourage them to do so. Get the fuck out of our country and go to Canada. Go on. Take the deal. GTFO. You'll fit in better there anyway. French police stopped an apparent bomb attack outside Bank of America. Yeah, we heard about this one the other day. I got paid like 900 euros. Playing an explosive device. Okay, interesting. Just a few years ago, malls were on the verge of dying, but Gen Z has brought them back from the brink, treating them as social hubs and retail meccas. Yeah, somehow, some way.
We visited a mall outside of Philadelphia called the King of Prussia Mall, and it was packed on a weekend.
Oh, with actual real live white people in a mall. Whoa. Oh, and black too. Okay. I'm more surprised at the white people, to be honest. At least in my area. All around here is it's like the opposite of white. It's as not white as it gets. All brown, black or brown. Them wearing various shaped cloths on their heads.
Looking at indoor malls specifically, foot traffic took a nosedive.
Yeah, the malls in this area have been completely overrun by Muslims. And they spend big. Like, not like feel unsafe walking into the place or anything. But you don't feel like it's your country. And that sucks. Thankfully, it looks like that's not the case everywhere. Malls making a comeback. Who'd have thunk it? All right. Well, I suppose that about does it. I think we are at the top of the hour. Yes, Mr. Fedora's in. How you doing, sir?
Okay. I'm doing good. Am I coming through okay?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, okay. In Zoom, your volume's really low, but
oh, weird.
It's fine on the. I hope I'm not coming in too hot.
No, you're perfect. You're good to go.
I'll let you know.
Cool.
So, anyway, yeah, great show, guy, and I'm looking forward to marching out of March and into April. I'll tell you.
Yeah, right. We're almost there. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Cool. Well, I'll let you get to it, man.
all right. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you later.
Sounds good. Have a good show. See ya.
Hello, everyone. Hope everything.
All right, guys. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. I'll be back tomorrow evening. Okay? See you then. Be good. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Et cetera, et cetera.